DJI Flip versus DJI Neo. Which is the best beginner drone? DJI recently released the DJI Flip, which is a similar beginner-friendly drone than the Neo was, which was released last year. The Neo was immensely popular thanks to its low asking price and autonomous flying modes, which made it probably the best beginner drones out there in 2024. So it was a bit of a surprise when DJI launched the Flip, which came out this year in 2025. Which is, again, has very similar functions to the Neo. It's a bit more expensive, it has a larger sensor, so it does make you wonder which is better for beginners. So let's just compare the two. The Neo is much smaller than the Flip, although the Flip does fold in. So when you fold them up, they're more or less the same size. So from a transportation point of view, it's almost the same. The Neo is much lighter than the Flip, although the Flip itself is not heavy either. So they both fall under, which some countries pose as a limit, which is the 250-gram limit. So if you only have the sort of like the lighter pilot license, you can still kind of pilot both of them, which is excellent for beginner pilots. One key difference between the two is that the Flip has a much larger sensor, which means that you can shoot videos in 4K up to 60 frames per second, whereas the Neo can only shoot 4K up to 30 frames per second. And there is a difference in the footage as well, although there's literally nothing wrong with the footage coming out of the Neo. You get a lot more oomph out of the footage that comes out of the Flip than from the Neo. And again, a smoother footage because of the higher frame rate. They can both be controlled without a controller, essentially, by pressing a button on the drone itself. But the Flip has what's called the master shots, which strings together a bunch of quick shots, such as droney or circle or rocket, and creates footage for you in the DJI app. So you can kind of create these kind of more cinematic shots with the Flip, whereas the Neo only has the quick shots modes, which again is still pretty cool, but not quite as impressive as the master shots in the Flip. Other key difference is the flight time. So the DJI Flip has an 18-minute maximum flight time. That is only if you remove these top guards from the propellers. With the propeller guards, it's 70 minutes, whereas with the Flip, you get 31 minutes with one battery, so nearly twice as much, not quite twice as much, but quite close to twice as much flying time, which obviously enables you to fly the drone for longer, a bit further, a bit higher than the Flip. They also come bundled up with different controllers, although you can use both controllers with both drones, but DJI decided to go with the screenless N3 controller for the Neo, and then you got the RC2 controller with the Flip bundled up. You can of course get the drones on their own as well with just the one battery, and I've got the Fly More combo here, which includes obviously the drones themselves, the controller, and they both come with their little multiple charging stations as well. This is a parallel charging station that comes with the Flip. And you also got like this multi-charging station for the Neo as well, which is a bit smaller. And obviously a huge difference is price. The DJI Neo is probably the best cheap drone out there. And considering how affordable it is, it does give you a lot of features. The Flip is a bit more expensive. Again, it's far from actually being expensive, so I would say it's a pretty affordable drone too, but it is more expensive than the Neo. So the big question is, which one should you get? I love both of them, but I gravitate towards the Flip because of the larger sensor, because of the more flying modes, and because of the longer battery life. So that means that you can fly for longer, even with just the one battery. It's not that expensive that you would be like, oh, they're just too expensive for me as a beginner. It's still very much in the beginner sort of price bracket, but you do get a lot of extra features for the extra money. And for that, I would recommend the Flip. If you're on a shoestring budget though, the Neo is an amazing choice. It's excellent for beginners. Again, you can fly it like a normal drone. You can fly it, without any controller. You can get a controller. You can use your phone and the DJI app to fly it. So there's a lot of different modes. It can help you familiarize yourself with what it means to fly a drone. And again, you do get lovely 4K 30 frames per second footage. But of the two, the DJI Flip is definitely better, and I would recommend that.